So remind me again how many kids we're expecting?
Oh, just a modest 700 this time. We're keeping it chill.
Oh, right. And statistically, how many will survive?
Oh, like 6?
600?
No.
If you don't get the memo yet, that's pretty much how your life starts. And if you still don't get how much of a crisis mode you're in, even though you just hatched, let me break it down further for you. You're headed for a life of poison roommates, forced gender changes, and a social system built entirely on silent judgment. But for now, you are 2 millimeters long, practically see-through, soft as pudding. You have 0 skills, no defense, and no concept of direction. Your mom? Gone. Your dad? Probably still guarding the rock where you used to be, completely unaware you've already been swept miles away by the current. The second you hatch, you're plankton. And that's not a metaphor. You're literally part of the drifting food chain now, floating helplessly while jellyfish, anchovies, and larval crabs take turns trying to eat you. You have no reef, no shelter, and no clue what's happening. Your odds of survival? Less than 1%. Against all odds, you've made it through the blender. You're still tiny, still soft, but now you're hovering near a coral reef, which sounds beautiful until you realize it's basically a biological war zone. Everything here wants to eat you, stab you, poison you, or charge a rent. You need a home. A very specific kind. A sea anemone. Yes, that wriggling death puff with venomous tentacles. The one that kills almost everything that touches it. That's where you need to live now. To survive, you have to build up immunity to the sting. That means doing the underwater equivalent of rubbing your face on a live taser until your mucus gets thick enough to fool the anemone into thinking you're one of the good guys. If you're lucky, the anemone lets you stay. If you're unlucky, it eats you anyway. And let's say you do make it inside. You find a nice little pocket of tentacles to hide in, and then realize someone already lives here. A group of clownfish eyeball you like you just sat in their seat at lunch. There's a dominant female, a bossy breeding male, and a bunch of lower-ranked males doing all the chores. There's no welcoming party, no invitation. You get bullied, nipped, and maybe, eventually, tolerated. Congrats, you've officially moved into a toxic roommate situation. And it only gets weirder from here. You've earned your spot in the anemone. Great, time to relax, right? Well, not really. Now, you get to navigate the most confusing family structure in the ocean. Here's the setup. Every anemone has a strict clownfish hierarchy, like a tiny, wet soap opera. At the top, the dominant female. She's the biggest, baddest fish in the sponge. Below her, the largest male, her breeding partner. Below him, a pyramid of sad, small males who do chores and quietly wait for someone to die. And guess what? Everyone starts out male. That includes you. But if the female dies, the breeding male goes through a full biological transformation and becomes the new female. If the breeding male becomes female, the next largest male becomes a new breeder. It's like watching a slow-motion relay race where the baton is hormonal chaos. There's no voting, no application process, you just wait your turn in silence, knowing your whole identity could flip overnight. So, here you are, stuck in a tiny bubble of venom, surrounded by coworkers who may become romantic partners, rivals, or both, depending on who kicks the bucket first. Forget romance. You're living in a stinger-filled telenovela with forced gender transitions and absolutely no privacy. And somehow, it's only mildly worse than the open ocean. People think you're safe now. After all, you live in a toxic pillow fortress. You've got venom on your side, a tight-knit little fish society, and a giant murder plant for a house. What could go wrong? So much. The anemone isn't some invincible bunker. It's a jellyfish with a mood disorder. It protects you, sort of, but also occasionally stings you just for standing in the wrong spot. Leave its tentacle zone for even a few seconds and you're fair game for moray eels, lionfish, triggerfish, or anything else that likes its food small, colorful, and squishy. And let's not forget humans. Divers love you. Snorkelers love you. Kids point at you and say, "Nemo!" while their parents take blurry pictures and accidentally knock over part of your reef. Sometimes they even try to pet you. Tourism damages reefs. Bleaching kills your anemone. Climate change makes everything worse, and guess who has to deal with all of it while pretending to be a cheerful cartoon character? You. You may look cute on the outside, but your day-to-day life is a tightrope walk over a venom pit surrounded by predators, cameras, and bad water quality. And just when you think you've seen it all, Pixar comes along and makes it even weirder. You probably thought you were famous. You were in a movie. You had merch. Your species became a global icon. Finding Nemo made everyone fall in love with Clownfish. But let's talk about what the movie didn't show. First off, the opening scene? Accurate. Mom gets eaten. Tragic. But in real life, if the mother clownfish dies, the father doesn't stay single and emotionally available. He turns into the new female.
Wait, Nemo's dad becomes...
Yep, he becomes the mom.
So Nemo ends up with a...
Let's just say the sequel would have been weird. Real clownfish biology makes Game of Thrones look like a balanced family drama. There are no plucky adventures across the sea, no helpful sharks, no turtle taxis. There's just hierarchy, hormone-triggered identity shifts, and an unspoken understanding that everyone is replaceable. And unlike Nemo, you don't get rescued. If you're captured and sold as a pet, that's the end of your story. You die in a tank, watching toddlers tap the glass while your anemone withers under LED lights. But thanks to Pixar, people assume you're brave, funny, and living a dream life in a bubble of joy. In reality, you're a hormonal wreck, trapped in a venomous sponge, waiting for your boss to die so you can become her. But sure, call you Nemo. Because the truth, it's too weird for a G rating. So you've survived the reef, impressed the anemone, and climbed your way up the social ladder. Congratulations, you're now the second biggest clownfish in the house. That means only one thing. You're the breeding male. And your job? Make babies with the dominant female, which used to be your boss, which used to be your bro.
This feels ethically complex.
Shut up and fertilize the eggs. Mating is as romantic as a damp spreadsheet. She lays hundreds of eggs on a rock, and you, like a weird little Roomba, glide over them and release your sperm. The rest of the group, they're not allowed to do anything, not even flirt. If they show signs of growing, the dominant pair literally bullies them smaller. And don't get too comfortable. If the alpha female dies, you'll become her. If you die, the next guy becomes you. The cycle never ends. You've lived your whole life in the same toxic puffball. Every day is a loop. Clean the anemone, dodge predators, get bullied by your boss, eat scraps, sleep. Years pass. You're still in the same tentacle neighborhood, watching the coral bleach and the current change. You're getting older now. Your reflexes slow. Your spot on the hierarchy? Slipping. One wrong move and a younger, stronger clownfish bumps you down. So, what's your role here?
I used to be second in line. Cool, I'm second now.
I'll be over here cleaning algae off that shell. You started as plankton. You ended as background noise. You lived in a bubble of venom, under a hierarchy that forced you to change genders, suppress your own growth, and mate with your emotionally distant ex-boss, all while pretending everything was fine. No one outside your anemone knew your name. No one ever asked how you were doing, because to the reef, you were a helper fish, a cute sidekick, a colorful distraction with zero autonomy, and a lifetime subscription to stay in your lane. Never saw open ocean again, never got to say,
I made it. Did I at least make a difference?
Well, you helped fertilize 700 eggs. 2 might survive, so kinda.
Cool.
Even your Hollywood moment was a lie. A sanitized, G-rated fantasy that skipped all the weird parts. Your biology, your trauma, your very identity. And now, you're fading. And the next clownfish, it'll take your place like nothing happened. Because that's what clownfish do. We survive quietly. We obey silently. We get misunderstood globally. And if anyone ever tells you it's fun being a clownfish, they've clearly never been one.